Hey, this is Paulie Z, and in this video we are going to learn the intro and main riff to Enter Sandman by Metallica. Now, the cool thing about this, it's basically just eighth notes, but the thing that makes it really cool is that the first note is on an upbeat. So that's what I'm going to show you, and we'll do the clean part in the beginning, and we'll do the main riff. We'll skip some of the stuff in between because that's for a separate video. Anyway, enough talk. Let's just play the darn thing. All right, so let's start with the clean part, the very beginning of the song, the intro. What you're going to do is based in the key of E minor, and we're going to start with that first note, which is the open sixth string. Now that's easy. The part that's tricky is where do you play that note, all right? And I'll explain in a second, but let's just get the notes and then we'll talk about the rhythm. So hit that open. And then I want you to put your third finger on the fifth string, 7th fret, which is also an E, okay, but an octave. And then put your first finger on the 4th string, 5th fret. Okay, so those are our first three notes. So, and I want you to keep the third finger down when you play that third note over here. Keep your third finger on that 5th string, 7th fret, so you kind of let them ring a little bit. See that? Little ghost note, they ring as opposed to, I don't want that, it's too choppy. So, now, let's see what those notes sound like rhythmically, all right? The first note is actually the upbeat, the and, before the measure starts, before 1. So if you're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right there is that note. So if we count it out, let's just see if we can figure out where to play that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Good. Now, why is this important? Because if you start in the, if you don't have a click track, and if you're listening to the song and you're just listening to it the way it is, you probably think you start on beat number 1. But if you heard the click track, like they were hearing when they were recording, or if someone's giving you like a hi-hat or something, then you would see that the first note starts on that upbeat, and it holds over beat number 1. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Okay, so. And 1. Then your third finger on the 5th string, 7th fret would be the next note, which is and then that first finger would be beat number 2. 2. Okay, so let's try it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Okay, and 1 and 2. All right. Then we move on. It'll as we go further into it, you'll start to understand more. So bear with me. The second finger goes on the 6th string, 6th fret, and then 5th fret. Okay, so that makes sense right there. And that's and 3 rhythmically. And 3, and 3. So and 2 and 3. Okay, again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Good. Then beat number 4 goes back to the third finger on that 5th string, 7th fret. I never left that spot. I'm still there. So I just go back to it. And 3, 4. And 3, 4. So let's try from the beginning. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Good. Now, after 4, you hit the open E string again, which starts the riff over again. So the riff is always going to start 1/8 note before the downbeat. It always has that anticipation. That's what makes it cool. It gives you that jump. and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 3. So rhythmically, let's just count it out. We'd have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 3, 4 and. You get it? So and 2 and 3, 4 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 and notice I'm letting them all kind of ring out so that they create this ghostly chord. Okay. So now the next riff is basically the same rhythm, but now we're using power chords, and we're not going to have those kind of like clean ghostly chords that we were doing before. You're going to do a nice strong E power chord, 6th string open, and the first finger on the 5th fret. Fifth string, 2nd fret. Okay, so that's and hit it again. So you hit the power chord, then just hit the 6th string, and slide in with your 3rd finger to the 5th string, 7th fret. So let's just get that. And 2. Okay, so it'd be like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2. Good. Okay, so now you're just going to do the same thing you did before, where you put your 2nd finger on the 6th string, 6th fret, and then your 1st finger on the 5th fret. So and 3, but this time you just hold it. So and 3, 4. That's it. That's the end of the measure. So you're holding that note over 3 and 4. 3, 4. So it and 2 and 3, 4 and 2, 3, 4 and 2 and 3, 4. All right. You do that 3 times, and then you have that little chunky part, which we'll do in a second. But let's just master this one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 3, 4. Now, same thing on the and of 4. You hit a G power chord. And okay. And good. Now let me just show you this riff, and then we'll put them together. So you have the G power chord, open E, and then your then an F sharp power chord, which would be the 2nd fret. And what we're going to do is we're going to be muting them. So we hold this one not muted, the G chord, mute the open string, and then mute the F sharp chord, and then and then go back to the open string. So try that again. Not mute, 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 mute. So one more time. See that? Then go back to the F sharp chord, G chord, back to F sharp. So all muted, okay? Bum, bum, bum. So rhythmically we have this. And 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, try it again. Remember that G chord is on that upbeat. And 2 and 3 and 4. And why am I not saying 1? Because I'm holding that G chord over the 1. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So let's try the riff into that so you can see how they go together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then all you do is repeat. And because the riff starts on the and, you're going to repeat just the way you did before with an and. So and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Always start, always end on that and. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 and 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 3 and 4, and 2 and 3, 4, and 2 and 3, and 2 and 3, and 2 and 3 and 4, and. All right, there you go. All right, that's all for now. If you like this video, please click like, share it, subscribe, and leave a nice comment. Also, if you click the link below, you can check out more of my free videos, as well as tons of live performance footage and my premium training courses. As always, it's been my pleasure working with you, and I'll see you soon.